everyone's saying, well, the government cannot interfere with court proceedings. You know, we have to maintain everything else, which is nonsense because they can if they want. Take, for example, the case of Judge Camp. Hello, it's April 2022, and I just want to do a brief video. I've been getting some replies back from all the correspondences that I've sent, and I know I gave an example of one set of correspondences, but there's others as well, so I haven't heard anything back from them. I'm really not expecting too much, and I'll get into why in a moment. So over the years, when I was dealing with all the issues in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, I reached out for help to everyone, and no one really seems to care, and they seem to only look at official reports, official narratives, and it doesn't matter how much evidence I can produce. They just, I don't get it. And now, as I'm talking right now, it kind of reminds me with what I call now the old current worldwide events and everything that was being imposed, and how there's still many people and there's still videos of conflicts, confrontations, physical confrontations with people who are imposing, people who are going along with everything, even though you don't have to anymore, and still physically attacking people. And it really reminds me of those kind of people, because no matter how much evidence, what you say, it's not going to reach them. And I'm really starting to see that with everything that I've been dealing with. People just go along with the official narrative, regardless. And even when it's retracted or redacted, it doesn't matter. So what I really want to talk about is one particular letter. I actually want to begin with one from one of the federal governing bodies. And basically they said that my issues are within the province of Alberta, so they can't do anything, or at least yet, and I need to direct everything to the province governing bodies, which I have over the years and which I already did. What's interesting is one of the main governing bodies for the province came back today with, I don't even know how to describe it, a letter that has absolutely no value, none. And I'm not going to go through every little detail of it, because I could sit here all day and pick it apart. Not that it was a very long letter, I think a page and a half. But one of the two main things that stuck out for me is when they were talking about how the government, politics, they're not allowed to interfere with or even sway judges to make decisions, to make rulings, and that ensures that every ruling is based on evidence, facts, and testimony, and everything else. That's all textbook stuff, and that's all what the common person who has no working knowledge of law thinks it is all about, but it's not. And I even highlighted the fact that it was political interference that convicted me. And it's going to take political interference to fix it. And I'm very numb about, you know, in my reply, I did say, you know, that giving me a textbook answer does not reflect what actually happens in reality. Now, I don't know if these people are literally blind to it, or they just go along with the status quo, as I've said. I don't know. And then one of the other things they were trying to address was my mental health, which again I was very clear, and I've been very clear, that they're not going to, these liberal arts, theoretical pseudoscience of psychology is not going to fix anything. And even at the best of times, they don't really fix anything for anyone. So yeah, I'm just feel really beat up inside about all this. No one seems to care to correct or wrong. It just shows how wicked the world is. And yeah. And I guess the other thing that really stuck out to me was the last paragraph when they said that they're not going to, this will be their final correspondence to me. Now, here's a governing body. Their job is to ensure, you know, the people, everything is, they're supposed to be looking after the people, in a nutshell. And that right there says that they're not interested in anything I have to say, which the two detectives allegedly investigating the assault on me said the same. They told me to my face, no one cares what you have to say. And I have no idea why, I don't even know what the word is, hatred or definitely disrespect towards me. So rather than, and that right there tells you that they have no interest in correcting a wrong or even helping me. They spewed off a bunch of nonsense that's useless and basically told me where to go. If they really wanted to look into it, they would have talked to me. No, they didn't talk to me. It appears they looked on the database on my files and just, you know, accepted whatever. But and that's the crazy part is, again, no one wants to talk to me. And that was how everything started for me many, many years ago now. I just don't get it. I've even wondered if sometimes I'm here, but am I supposed to be here, but I'm still here type of thing. I don't even know if that makes sense. Am I invisible? I have no idea. You want to talk about feeling like an outcast, which I don't. I've never felt different to anyone or an outcast, but I'm trying to throw some descriptives here, trying to describe the Twilight Zone movie of all this nonsense that I've been enduring. I can't even put it to words. Yeah, it's yeah, they just basically told me where to go. So the federal, they seemed more, they were more interested, but provincially, no. I don't even know what to say. It does really feel like getting beat up within again. You know, just before the recording, I had more that I wanted to say, and as I'm talking, it's like my mind is just kind of shorting out a little bit. Sometimes it gets really bad, right? But yeah, I'm frustrated and sad, really, right now. Because I didn't deserve any of this. And I think it was the video, my previous video to this one. And this one is in real time. It's not one that I made whenever. I started talking about the pastor in Alberta and this guy Pat King, who are in jail for not complying, not going along with whatever was being imposed due to the official narratives of worldwide current events. And I actually did a whole video with about the pastor, and everyone calls him a hero, and they're outraged that these two individuals are in jail, and they did it to themselves, and that's the whole thing. And now they're dealing with peripheral laws, and nobody really seems to listen. And I'm just gonna pause here for a moment. You have all these other people who everyone's praising for being whistleblowers, and they're middlemen from people who are actually doing the whistleblowing, but no one's really focusing on them. They're only focusing on the messenger. These are truthers, people who are seeking truth, and so-called freedom fighters doing this type of stuff. Let me tell you something. A real whistleblower and exposer, they don't look for things to whistleblow about and expose. I never asked to learn what I did. I think it was like June 2012. And I stepped up when I was approached and being questioned. Weeks later, what do I know? I never approached anybody. And I never asked in December 2012 to be falsely accused, along with this other former co-worker. I never asked for any of that. I never asked for no one to talk to me then. I never asked for, nor did I even could have dreamt on May 4, 2013, two former police officers would cripple me. And on top of that, when they realized everything went sideways, charging me with alleged obstruction, alleged assaulting a police officer. I never asked for any of that. I never asked for the former senior counsel of the city of Calgary to interfere with my case. Now, he was the lawyer for the city's political interference. I never asked for any of that. I never asked that it be dragged on for years. And that's the difference. When you look at people who are hyped up now with, for example, the truthers, and I'm not saying anything bad about truthers or people who call themselves freedom fighters, but these people who were part of that and who are in jail now did it to themselves. They sought something, and they got what they wanted. Their 15 minutes of fame. I haven't had my 15 minutes of fame. And that's the difference. I guess you can say one version, it's self-fulfilling prophecy. And the other version is things getting dumped on your shoulder. My point with bringing this up is this, what I'm sharing in all my videos, especially this one. This is the injustice that people face. This is the injustice that people have to deal with. And there's no fixing anything. It's their game. They make the rules as they decide. And before I forget, everyone's saying, well, the government cannot interfere with court proceedings. You know, we have to maintain and everything else, which is nonsense, because they can if they want. Take, for example, the case of Judge Camp, who asked some questions in which certain movements totally exploited one question, didn't even put it into context, didn't even get the question right. And when you read through those transcripts, which I have, and other people have, and other people have done videos on that, and I've mentioned this in older videos, he asked a very reasonable question. He was trying to understand something. He was removed as a judge. Not only that, as I've said, remember, judges are still practicing lawyers. He was disbarred. In the last I heard, he was fighting to at least be able to practice law. This guy was older. He spent his whole life, his whole career, gone because of a handful of crazy people, and I'm being polite, took offense to a question taken out of context. And on top of that, however the proceedings went, there was a retrial. So when somebody says that, well, the government can't interfere, well, one thing, again, they interfered, that's why I'm convicted. But if they wanted to, they could make things right, but they don't want to. And this is what I find absolutely mind-numbing. Why? Why had everyone, I mean, I can, as I said in my previous video, I can speculate, but it's just like a huge mission. From my perspective, sitting here right now with everything that I've gone through, destroy me. And I'm nobody. I'm no one. And this is what the people, everyone, all the truthers and all the freedom people who call themselves freedom fighters, this is what they're all up against. If they can convict, and I'm not the only one, I've used many examples and videos, innocent people, and throw them in prison for decades, not one person being held accountable. Imagine somebody who's fighting for what they perceive as a cause, and I'm not agreeing or disagreeing, I'm just saying, who does things to themselves, set themselves up for this fall of being, for example, arrested and charged and going to jail. There's no chance. Now, there could be some exceptions to that for some obscure reason, which is fine, but it'd be rare. And this is my whole point. Think about it. If you don't help all these other little cases like mine, whether you want to help me or you don't, I couldn't care less anymore. If you don't help all these other cases, then perhaps even your cause is doomed. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. I'm going to read this line. His actions mimic those of a pedophile grooming a child. It's the first time I read it not too long ago. I'd never seen that before. Somehow, the story goes from raping or sexually assaulting this female, being a co-accused with a male co-worker, but to that.